Hey guys, Josh with LinkSpider. Today we're going to talk about streaming cameras and various options, and then we're going to talk about the ways to mount them. In 2020, everybody realized we've got a pandemic situation going on, and a lot of ball seasons were canceled. And about midway through the year, we were blessed to find out that ball seasons were coming back. But because of the risk, a lot of people won't be able to go to ball games. Because of some rules, people can't go to ball games. So this has been the year for streaming. Streaming's been around for a couple of years. There's been a couple of ways to do it. But this is the year where the infrastructure is being created, where camera makers are pushing to do streaming. Services are going to be available. And we're going to show you what our thoughts are for the various reasons why you might want to use certain devices and certain streaming solutions. So we're going to break things down in really three groups right now. We've got the Gopro group, which has been around for a long time. We've got Mevo, that's been around a little while and has come out with some new devices. And then we've got smartphones. GoPro 7, 8, and 9, the latest flagship camera, do have streaming capability. It is a rugged camera. It is waterproof. GoPro is our preference when we are recording. They handle the most impacts. So when you take a direct impact, we know the device is going to be able to handle it. They are completely waterproof when the doors are shut. And they do have Wi-Fi capability and streaming built in. And so that is a possibility. Our primary hang-up with GoPro, we actually have two. The two big hang-ups are the field of view. Field of view, and all of these cameras sort of talk about field of view, and some call them different. GoPro is actually calling them lenses now. But field of view is the angle in which the camera can see. The DSLR that I'm shooting on right now has what's called a focal length, you know, the 35 millimeter to 70 millimeter. That's all determining that field of view. How wide and how narrow can I see? GoPro has ultra wide field of view all the way down to linear, so that fisheye is gone. But for some reason, with streaming, they only allow the ultra wide field of view. Now, the good thing is you know you're going to capture the field. There's never going to be a field that's too wide that ultra wide won't cover. So that's very good. You know you can get it. But the problem with an ultra wide field of view is that the action is pushed way out. So it's much more difficult to see in a stream. And you typically are going to get fence in the shot because it's so wide. You also are wasting so much space out here that you really don't want to capture. So while it is technically possible, it's not our preferred solution because of that. The second issue is that GoPro requires a Wi-Fi signal. These all connect to your cell phone, and your cell phone obviously has data. GoPro requires a Wi-Fi signal, so it does not pass through your LTE data or your 5G data on your phone. If you have hotspot, the GoPro will connect to that, but most people don't have unlimited hotspot. They either have a hotspot that when it maxes out, you pay an additional fee, or it throttles it back and therefore streaming is not a good capability. So that's a huge disadvantage. It's not a complete limitation, but it is a disadvantage and one that I hope GoPro fixes. Okay, so that's the GoPro. Again, the streaming is available on the 7, the 8, and the 9, and really they're identical when it comes to streaming. It will stream and record at the same time, but keep in mind that you stream and record to the same settings. So if you're recording at this ultra wide field of view, that's the recording that you're going to get. Okay, moving on to the Mevo cameras. Mevo is essentially a company that developed a studio-grade camera. They've done a lot of streaming over the years. This is the Plus that's been around for a few years. This is the one that we've used for quite some time. And then this is the Start that came out early in the year. We got one, I believe, in March, and have been playing around with it. They're both very good cameras. They take very good video, and their primary purpose is streaming, but they also do record. The newer camera, and newer is not always better. We're just going to say that. Mevo reaches a large community. They do churches, they do community groups, they do all kinds of things, up to and including baseball. So baseball is not the highest market for them. But one of the limitations that they added with the Start is that it has a fixed field of view. I believe it's 120 degrees. Now it's fairly wide. That's wide enough for most fields. If you have a super small field, if you have a field with a really shallow backstop, you're going to find that it's maybe not wide enough. You won't have to worry about fence being in the shot, so that's good. But the other limitation that they've got is this is a 1080p sensor. 1080p is typically the limitation that most cameras are going to stream in. There's really not a lot of streaming solutions that are higher than 1080p, nor would you really want to, because in most fields you're not going to have the bandwidth to go beyond 1080p. The problem is with a 1080p sensor, if you need to crop zoom, if you need to pinch zoom to get the shot that you want so that you're getting all of the detail in the screen that you want, it's going to start to pixelate real soon because 1080p is the fixed sensor. Anything that you zoom on top of that is going to be what we call a digital zoom, where it's actually increasing the size of the pixels. And that's sort of a bad thing. We're hoping that at some point they come out with a higher model than this because the price on this one is essentially the same as what the Plus was, which came out a few years ago. Now, we still use the Plus because it is our preferred streaming device. It has a 4K sensor. It has adjustable fields of view, and again, it has the pinch zoom that both of the cameras have. Now, we like this because we're able to put it up on the field. We're able to set the field of view to get sort of close to what we want, and then we pinch zoom to get it exactly where we want. We want from first base to third base so that the person at home gets the most bang for their buck on what they're viewing. And because it is a 4K sensor, when you crop zoom, you still have quite a bit of resolution so that you can feed the best quality to the end user. In both of these situations, we used to sell this mini ball head. It allowed you to tilt the camera forward and back. Our product allows you to line the camera up forward this way and backward this way and tilt to get the horizon. But with a fixed bottom, you would not be able to lean forward. Now, in my personal opinion, the best setup for the Mevo Plus is to get about the right height that you want, mount this directly to our product, and shoot straight across. It is the most rigid solution, so you don't have to worry about that. Because the start is a deeper camera from the center of the tripod mount to the end, our standard mini ball head would no longer work. We recommended this for using cell phones. We recommended this for using the pocket radars. But because it doesn't work with this device and we really don't want to carry multiple inventory, we've recently started carrying this small rig, what they call a magic arm. And it is a mini ball head, very similar to the one that we used before, but it has 2 pivot points. And what that allows you to do is to mount to our spider slider and lean this back, and then you can use the start. You could use this on any of these devices that we're talking about, and this will actually be on our website for sale this weekend. So that's those 2. The third option is the cell phone. The cell phone is the cheapest solution. Hang tight with me, the cheapest solution for streaming. And the reason why it's the cheapest solution is because everybody's got a cell phone. Yeah, cell phones are probably, if you buy them outright, they're probably a lot more money than some of these solutions, but we all have them. If you do a good job of making sure that you've got a good case, that you're keeping the points that aren't waterproof dry, they are the best bang for the buck. We use Google phones. iPhones work very well. A lot of the new phones are coming out with multiple lenses so they can shoot wide. Just keep in mind that your service may not take advantage of all of those lenses. But our preferred setup solution is to use the cell phone for streaming. Again, the cheapest bang for the buck because everybody's got one. You've got data that goes through this already. In most cases, you can get unlimited data with a carrier, and if you're shooting a lot of games, unlimited data is definitely the way to go. So we stream with the smartphone. What you can't do in most cases is stream and record with a smartphone. But actually, that's okay because I don't like putting all of my eggs in one basket. I want to know that I'm getting a good stream so that those folks at home can watch the game. But I also want to know that I'm getting the best recording that I can get so that I can later go back and extract these clips. I can view whole games. I can view them at very large size and not be limited by the stream that I set up. So we actually like to use two solutions. And right now our preferred solution is to use the smartphone using the clamp, and then we tie that to one of these arms. Again, this is a small rig arm that we're going to start selling. We've recently become a small rig reseller. And we'll mount this on the bottom side of the other camera, which is the GoPro. And this allows you to sort of line the smartphone where you want. You lock it down and then configure your smartphone to stream, configure the GoPro to record, and get the best of both worlds. Now, going back to the GoPros, with all GoPro cameras, you will need the tripod mount. This is the mount that mounts to the fingers on the bottom side of the camera that adds the standard quarter 20 threaded socket on the bottom of that. You will need that if you don't have one. It doesn't come with the GoPro. If you've just gotten a GoPro, a tripod mount won't come. You'll get a couple of fittings, some with the adhesive bottoms. That's not what you need. You actually need a tripod mount. But the reason why we don't sell it is because a lot of people come from other mounting solutions. A lot of people use these on tripods, and they already have this. And we don't want to bake it into the cost and sell you something that you don't need. So that, in a few minutes, is our recording streaming solution. Again, we like to use the dual solution, which we've got set up on our website to show you how to do. We use the smartphone to stream, use the ReadyCam clamp tied to the small rig arm. We use the GoPro right now. We're using the GoPro Hero 9 for most of our testing, and we use the tripod mount. The tried and true GoPro Hero 8 is a good device. It's probably going to be replaced in our recommendation by the Hero 9 soon, but because it just came out, we're still running it through the trials. If you've seen some of our posts on our torture tests where we actually heat it, we measure the temperature, we measure the time, we're still doing all that stuff. We've done all of that to the Hero 8 and feel good about recommending it. We don't recommend the Hero 7. The Hero 7 is not a horrible camera. It was a horrible camera when it first came out. But through various settings and various firmware updates, it's now become a decent camera. So if you have one of these, I maybe wouldn't recommend upgrading at this time. However, if the 9 proves to what we believe it will, and again, testing is going well, the upgrade from the 7 to 9 is a good upgrade. The upgrade from an 8 to a 9, maybe not so much. There are a lot of nice features. It's a good, rugged, solid camera. Again, we've been very pleased. The one thing that we might tell you why you might upgrade to the 9 over the 8 is that the lens cover is removable. This is something that has been in previous cameras, and we really like that. If for some reason you drop your camera and you crack that, you have it mounted wrong, and you take a shot and bust that, these being replaceable is great. The Hero 8 is not. This is fixed. If you crack that, you have to send that off to GoPro or somebody else to get it fixed, and that's just a hassle. All right, so that is the rough setup. Again, GoPro, best bang for the solution as far as rugged, waterproof goes. For recording, not really a great solution. For streaming, although it is possible. The Mevo cameras, good quality recording, very good streaming. Not completely rugged, not completely waterproof. The older model, which you can no longer get, you have to buy this discontinued, but I still recommend it. BH Photo is probably the best place to get that right now. And then, of course, the smartphone that everybody has for streaming. And if you just want to do streaming, that's a good, cheap solution. We're going to have some information at the very end telling you guys where you can find all this stuff. If you go to our website, linkspyder.com, that's LYNKSBYDER.com. If you go through our menu, you can see our camera setups, and we show you pictures and give you links exactly what you need for the specific setup that you want to use. But if you have more questions, reach out to me at josh@linkspyder.com. Have a great day at the ballpark, guys. See ya.